Afternoon. I'm John Falchicchio, Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development, and on behalf of Mayor Bowser, we want to welcome you to this week's DMPED Weekly Check-In. Today we have a number of topics to discuss, including the Bridge Fund launch, which just happened this week, as well as our new Shop Local initiative. This week we also had Mayor Bowser announce a couple of new items for folks to look at in terms of dialing back our activity. And we want you to look at coronavirus.dc.gov. And if you go to the Phase 2 page, that's where you can find all the latest on the dial back guidance. Look for that, and that goes into effect on Wednesday. So we want to talk to you a little bit before we get into the Thanksgiving holiday. We know that this is a big time for retail in the District of Columbia and around the country. And so we have with us Sabangle Cook, who is the Director of Business Development in DMPED, who's going to talk to us a little bit about a new initiative that we have this year to make sure that district residents are shopping locally. Sabangle? And in typical 2020 fashion, Sabangle, you're muted.
I just recognized I was muted. My apologies.
No problem.
But once again, thank you all. I am honored and excited to be before you again today. Thank you, Deputy Mayor, to share another initiative and pilot that we are introducing. I know that yesterday we launched the Shop in the District website, and now we're just going to dig into it a little bit and kind of share a little bit more about what this is. So, as we all understand, local businesses and retailers have been severely impacted by the effects of COVID-19. With this being the biggest spending period of the year, businesses are really looking for new approaches and ways to get more brand awareness and ultimately generate more revenue and find new ways of doing that. And so we here in the district and in the Deputy Mayor's office, along with a lot of other partners, we thought we should try to identify a way to do that. And that's where Shop in the District was born. I'll talk a little bit about Shop in the District. Ideally, again, like I mentioned, the priority is always to support revenue generation for our local businesses is one of the goals. Also to offer a resource for residents as well to be able to shop at their favorite local retailer, and then also do that safely and to do that anywhere. And then also to be able to present all of the different diverse retailers that we have here and the products that they offer through this platform. One other thing that we definitely wanted to flag and identify was also finding ways to support our small businesses who even need technical assistance. Some of our minority-owned businesses are disadvantaged or underserved commercial quarters that need some assistance. We also have provided an opportunity to help them with additional training and even to build a more robust e-commerce platform or to step into that space. So how it works, talk through that a little bit. When you go to the site, shopinthedistrict.com, you will see that there is a retail directory. You can search by store, by neighborhood. You can also see it by price. We've also included some elements of even a shopping gift guide with some local celebrities here and there. And so you do see a few featured there, highlighting some of their favorite places to shop. You see Jose Andres on the site and several others, and you'll continue to see more little celebrities here and there that are sharing some of their favorite places to shop here in the district. But then also there includes an opportunity as you are grazing the site and looking for products, an opportunity to think about whether or not you want to go down to the store safely, if it's available in the store or online, or if you want to get it delivered to you or shipped to you. You have a variety of options. In addition to, as we work with our partners, Near Delivery and DC2Go. So as I mentioned before, if you head to the next slide, searchability, you can see all of the different neighborhoods and stores. We'll continue to keep moving through this experience in this pilot by enhancing it as we understand what are some of the needs that shoppers are looking for, which are our residents. I did want to mention and flag also who our critical partners are, and we could not do this without them. New Era Assistance and Revenue, New Era Ventures, our partner that is powering Near Delivery. is one of our partners, is an online delivery platform specifically designed for DC-based businesses to do e-commerce and same day, as early as same day or next day delivery and even shipping. This company is a DC-based business, also a resident-owned business and a CVE. And then we also have another fantastic partner, DC2GoGo. They are an online ordering delivery platform as well. Specifically, they've launched doing this with local restaurants and owners. And these two individuals are no strangers to this work. Both of them actually have other businesses. So the designer and creator of Near Delivery, Andre Byers, he does have another retail business, and DC2GoGo, Josh Dalton, he also has a business in the food and beverage and restaurant industry. He's also a DC-based business and resident-owned business as well. So we're really excited to have these two partners here help us put this together. We were trying to be as comprehensive as possible in meeting the moment, and number one, trying to help not only our retailers, but then creating options for our residents who would like to patronize businesses. So we think this is an exciting opportunity and venture that we're headed down. That we're headed down this path in this pilot, and we'll continue to keep learning more about what shoppers are looking for and continue to enhance this platform. Additionally, I would like to flag that the other element of this program and this pilot that we've introduced is retail technical assistance. We know that there are some businesses that may have not had an extremely robust e-commerce platform or are interested in creating one, that we have an opportunity for you as well. If you go to the Shop in the District website, Shop in the District, the About page, you can skim down to the middle of the page and sign up so that we can begin to provide you technical assistance to help expand and help you meet the moment in your e-commerce platform, so that you can also participate and be a part of this platform. So the big burning question that I would think that everyone would like to know is, how can I support DC small businesses? Well, first, go to the Shop in the District website, shopinthedistrict.com, and start shopping. And also follow us on Instagram. This is meant to not only meet this moment now, but for the future. This is an all-year-round platform. It is meant to serve year-round, but obviously right now we are truly focusing on the holiday season. And as we do that, we'll continue to learn more about what the next steps are and begin to enhance this in our second and third phases of this project. Obviously, in here, the other thing that we would like for you to do is, join the platform, look for some other retailers. Maybe your favorite retailer isn't on the platform. Encourage them to sign up. Also, keep a lookout for any of the other curated guides that we include and other DC staples or icons that we would like to have on here. You'll see on the site that there are some great shopkeepers that have been featured. I think the museum is there, and the Spice Suite, and several others. So we're really excited about all the small businesses that are currently on the site, but we are looking for more. So obviously go to the shopinthedistrict.com site and go to the About. There is a button there for retailers for you to sign up, and for retailers who are interested in and need some additional digital assistance, there is that option as well. So with that, what I'd love to do is now introduce two of our strong partners that are participating in this. And I would love to have first Josh Saltzman from DC2GoGo talk a little bit about his platform, and then we will pivot over to Andre Byers to talk about New Era Ventures. Josh?
Thank you, Ms. Cook. So DC2GoGo was a business and an idea born purely out of the coronavirus pandemic. I'm one of the owners of Ivy & Coney, a small restaurant and bar in the Shaw neighborhood of the district, and we found ourselves at the beginning of the pandemic with the same issue that many retailers and restaurants faced, which is an inability to operate our businesses how we normally would. And what we tried to do with DC2GoGo is really change how operators, specifically restaurants, can do their e-commerce business, and that's pickup and delivery, online ordering. And where we're different is we were also using the third-party platforms that people find online, Grubhub and Uber Eats. And we found that it was extremely difficult to make ends meet and to be able to support our staff using those systems. They offer exorbitant prices. The commissions are very difficult. They don't treat their staff correctly. They use gig economy style jobs. And we thought that there would be an opportunity to have a local, more collaborative alternative to that. So DC2Go was launched in early March. We were online by May, starting with restaurants in Shaw, and we are slowly spreading out through the district. And, you know, it's critical right now with all of the hardships that restaurants are undergoing that we try to maximize our e-commerce capability and our online presence. And so one of the things that we try to do differently than our larger competitors is work with straightforward commissions, livable wages. We're very transparent about our processes. Make sure that the money that flows through the site is, you know, that the website is built by people in the district, for people in the district, and that money stays all locally and employs people locally. So, you know, we try to approach it with a more local sense and make sure that we're collaborating with our restaurant partners to find innovative ways that we can change the system and break the mold and really help everyone get through this pandemic. And we're really excited to be here and, you know, try to bring a local focus and, you know, a commitment to service and try to change things. So we'd love if, you know, there's other restaurants out there looking to break out of the mold as well, to visit DCToGogo.com, and especially if you're interested in supporting local restaurants, we'd love to have you order pick-up and delivery through our platform. So thank you for having us here today.
Thank you so much, Josh. And I think that's really important to flag again in the design of what you've done, Josh, particularly as you're truly focusing on ensuring that you're constantly thinking through employees or residents who have worked in this restaurant industry that still need to work and how you employ them. And it is a very different model than what you would normally see from your Uber Eats or your Grubhubs and stuff like that. So thank you so much, Josh, for sharing a little bit more about what this project and your program is. Andre Byers from New Era Ventures, you are next. Would you like to share a little bit about what New Era Ventures and their delivery is?
Yes, good afternoon. Andre Byers, owner of New Era Ventures. I'm excited to be here today to tell you about Near Delivery, giving a nod to Sabangle Cook and Josh comment about other businesses that we've been a part of. I'm Andre Byers, but I'm known to a lot of people as just Anaya and Zuri's dad. And I'm happy to say that because they are the owners of Honey Bunny Boutique. When you look at the first page, you'll see some of their product on the screen there. And so if I could say that's how it all started, because Honey Bunny Boutique, for those who have been there, know that we're not on a very main street. And so we were constantly trying to figure out how do you provide the same level of convenience that some of the international companies have, but with like the same sort of speed with some of the food delivery options have provided. And so what we came with was Near Delivery. And so what Near Delivery is a local delivery platform that enables small businesses to offer e-commerce convenience with same-day delivery. What it also does is it directs consumers to local retailers so they can quickly and easily find what they need while supporting their local economy. Now, in a nutshell, what we are trying to accomplish is making so that it's so easy and convenient for you to shop local first. What we want to do is have the most comprehensive platform to where you ask yourself, whatever it is I need, can I get it locally first? Can I support a small local business with it first? Let me go to Near Delivery and see. If not, then let me go outside. But let me start there. We want to be that first point of contact for you. And so how do we help DC residents is first, if you are able to first see if we offer it locally and shop locally, you're helping to grow the local economy. We're trying to make it easier for you to support your small local businesses, and that in itself will spur job growth within the district. The second thing is to shop safely. With Near Delivery, you can quickly and easily find what you need, and have it delivered same day or the next without even having to leave the comfort of your couch. Some of us need more exercise, but if you are like me and you're like, I'll just work out with YouTube later today, let me just sit on my couch and do my shopping. Near delivery allows you to do that and still support your local business. The last thing that we highlight is that we're reducing barriers of entry. We have almost reduced startup costs to nil for existing businesses, and so that they can easily join, but also it allows more DC residents to become entrepreneurs. And so on the last slide, you'll see our info page where you can find out more and sign up.
Great. Well, thank you for that. Sabangwe, Josh, and Andre, excited to have you here, excited to the ventures that you guys have undertaken, and we're excited to support them. We know that when you support local businesses, they hire local residents, and so we want to make sure that in this time where we're all a bit stressed and all a bit challenged, that we support one another. And so I think these platforms will help us do that. So we'll bring you back into the conversation in a bit. And next, we want to talk a little bit about the Bridge Fund. It is an initiative that Mayor Bowser launched last week. It's a $100 million grant initiative, and it has within it 4 programs, one for hotels, restaurants, retail, and then entertainment. And so within that, we are going to talk a little bit about about hotels today. Hotels, as you know, are a leading employer in the district. When we started 2020, the district had about 800,000 jobs throughout. And with the pandemic, we've lost about 56,000 jobs in the District of Columbia, and nearly 63% of those jobs, or about 35,000, were in this hospitality sector, so in that hotel, restaurant, retail, or entertainment sector. And so we're here to say that we want these businesses to survive, not just so that they're part of the vibrant culture of the city, but also to support the employees that they employ. And so that's why we're here, that's why we're doing it. And in this work, we have a partner who's a partner with us on many things, but we're excited to have him and this organization partner with us, and that's Greg Odell from Events DC, who's been helping us throughout the pandemic make sure that we support local businesses and our workers manage through the pandemic. With that, I'll bring Greg Odell into the conversation.
Well, thank you, Deputy Mayor Falchecchio. I just want to say it's as a resident first, it's been really heartwarming and heartfelt for what you and certainly what the mayor has done for all of us. But first and foremost, keep us safe. To say it's been devastating for many sectors would be an understatement, and certainly for the hospitality industry, as you've laid out, it's been, let's just say, probably one of the worst times we've ever experienced, and as you all know, we're still experiencing it. I'm sorry that I couldn't be there with you today, Mr. Deputy Mayor, but happy to join virtually. We did have a presentation, but I can just from here just kind of speak to some of the facts as we know them. In our industry, as you laid out, not only from the jobs perspective, from economic impact, we've seen between 2020 and 2021, there'll be hundreds of millions of dollars lost as a result of not having had any of the events that we normally would have had throughout the course of the year in Washington, D.C. And that obviously goes from conventions, meetings, to sports entertainment, to pretty significant across the board event activity. What drives those events for us as a city and why this industry is so important is because we bring visitors from outside Washington, D.C. to our great city. What we've seen is that in 2020 alone, that numbers in terms of travel will be reduced probably about to 53% of what we normally would see. So on average, I think last year we were over 22 million visitors, and we'll see roughly half of that in 2020. So as you can imagine, pretty significant for all the jobs that you stated and what's happened along the way for all of us. And so what's critical, as the mayor has said, and certainly as you've said, is that we need to get our visitors back to Washington, D.C., to frequent our restaurants and our hotels in particular, to drive that economic impact for the city. Just quickly, to echo the good work that the city has led all of us in doing, we were all able to participate this year in several relief packages that were to support particularly our hospitality industry. And so we were proud to do our part and certainly share in some of that relief package. And so there was roughly $5 million that was already awarded to hotels, $5 million to restaurants. We also had $5 million thanks to the great work, again, of the mayor and many folks that participated for undocumented workers, which is also a group that unfortunately doesn't often seek or able to seek relief. And so I say that just as the basis of now what you laid out, Mr. Deputy Mayor, and what the mayor's led, and that is the Bridge Fund. We are very excited to participate and help support you in those efforts to continue to make sure that these businesses are sustained, particularly our hotels. And I know you've laid out several of the industries that will benefit from the bridge, but the focus for the first phase will be on the hotels. And so what's critical about this is that this program is going to have to happen very quickly by the end of the year. And so we've already, obviously this is a fluid process, we've already been working with your great team, but we know that we need to not only get the notifications out, which have already started, but also start that application process that will frankly be completed by December 4th, and those dollars will literally be needed to get out the door by mid-December, and certainly make sure those expenses will have occurred by the end of the end of the calendar year, December 31st. So we're very excited. We think this is the first of many industries that you and the mayor are leading us to support, and we one day will certainly return to the vibrancy of our industry, which we know drives tens of thousands of jobs and supports certainly all the great work that the mayor wants to do, but also builds our community and makes Washington, D.C. That much stronger. So I appreciate the time to be here and to be with you. I'm sorry I'm not there in person. But thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, and certainly thank the mayor for all that she is doing to lead us in this effort.
Absolutely. Thank you, Greg, for that, and thanks for that overview. It's important you mentioned the speed at which we're trying to execute this program. Part of the reason for that is that there is $30 million of funding available. $20 million of that is federal funding from the CARES Act that the district got. Again, I have to take this moment to say that Mayor Bowser would want to remind you that the district was treated as a territory for the first time in the response to a pandemic or an emergency. Generally, we're supported and we also act as a state in these emergencies, and that's how we usually interact with the federal government. So we were shortchanged $790 million in the CARES Act funding. However, we did receive $495 million, $20 million of which is for this hotel program, and we need to disperse it by the end of the year. So that's why, Greg, your partnership is so important, that we make sure that we talk to the hotels and make sure they're aware of the program, utilize it, and we disperse the funds before the end of the year. So on that, I want to bring in a couple folks who work in this industry, who've been leaders in the community and who are helping us make sure that hotels are aware of this resource. That includes Solomon Keene, who's the president and CEO of the Hotel Association of Greater Washington, John Boardman, who's the executive secretary and treasurer of Unite Here Local 25. He's also a member of the board of Events DC. And Thomas Penny, who's the president of Donahoe Hospitality. I forgot to mention that Solomon's also a member of the board of Events DC. So, Greg, I just realized we may have a quorum issue here because you've got a number of your board members on the line. But jokes aside, why don't we hear from Solomon just what the Bridge Fund means to hotel industry as a whole, and then we'll hear from John and Thomas. Solomon, we'll go to you now. Oh, and Solomon, you're muted. You want to try it on your phone if you want to unmute? Solomon, we can come back to you. John Boardman, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, John Boardman.
Great. Thank you very much. I want to start out by acknowledging all the good work that's being done by the mayor and others to get us through this tragic situation. We, unfortunately, I feel, have a lot more to go through before we can see the sunrise. But what you're doing here with the Bridge Fund is a step in the direction. The industry is, as many have noted on this call, is suffering tremendously, and as are the employees who work in it. In my union, which represents over 7,000 hospitality workers, almost 90% of them are still unemployed. They are surviving on what's left of any savings they have, and the limited unemployment with the expiration of the federal subsidy. And we are waiting for the other shoe to drop as the potential of the expiration of the eviction moratorium is looming on the not too distant horizon. It is a very, very tough world for hospitality workers. And again, I'm pleased that the Bridge Fund is focused on hotels and the other parts of our industry, hospitality, in restaurants, et cetera, rightfully deserve assistance. And I'm particularly pleased that the Bridge Fund identifies that 80% of the monies need to go to the workforce. That's going to be a very difficult thing to accomplish because you can't have people on payroll until you have guests. And we seem to be dealing day to day with an increase in the caseload. So we'll see where that goes. But I think what we also have to consider is that we need to make sure that the people in our industry that make it work, have hope. And that means that they need to know that there's a job there for them when their business begins to come back online. And so I am hoping that we can all work together to make sure that that happens. The Bridge Fund is part of that process, and I'm pleased to know that the Bridge Fund has in it the requirement that the 80% go to payroll.
Thank you, John. Why don't we try to see if we can get Solomon in. Solomon, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Oh, and I think we just... Solomon, I think we lost your video. We're going to bring in Thomas. Thomas, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you all have weathered the pandemic and how you've managed to keep folks working throughout, and what's next for you?
So my name is Thomas Penny. I'm the president of Donahoe Hospitality Services. Today we operate over 1,000 hotel rooms in the district, and we have a fifth hotel that was under development pre-COVID that will continue to come forward, of which will open in February of next year by Audi Field. And my division is one of 5 divisions of which Donahoe has, the other 4 being a construction company, a real estate company, a building maintenance company, and a development company. We've been in the district since 1884. At least we were founded in the district in 1884. The Bridge Fund, I just want to commend the deputy mayor and the mayor for their leadership. This is an urgent time for our industry. I've been with Donahoe for 24 years. I started with the company when I was 21 years old. And as John spoke of earlier, we have 70 to 80% of our associates that are right now not getting hours because we have so little occupancies in our hotels. When we got the PPP funding earlier, we deployed those funds against keeping our folks employed because our people are the heartbeat of our business. And these resources could not have come at a more dire time. Because as we begin to look towards the holidays, we want to make certain we can maintain folks' health insurance, keep as many working as possible, And so this is a critical time for our industry, of which these resources will make a world of difference for many of our team members. And so again, I just can't thank the mayor, the deputy mayor, and the council enough, Councilmember McDuffie and the full council enough for supporting this much needed legislation. Today I have, if we can move to the next. So just to tell you a little bit about our team, we have our leadership team constructed of basically a diverse team, a large percentage of African Americans that grew up in the city are a part of our leadership team. We're 60% women led, of which we're proud of. And we can move to the next one. And so since COVID has started, in essence, we've had about 270 of our our employees here in DC have been either disconnected from work or had their hours materially reduced. It represents just short of $11 million in annualized earnings. And these are people we care deeply about that really make up the essence of our business. We've seen revenues down year over year by close to $50 million. And so the impact that COVID has had on our business has been far-reaching. I've been in the industry now almost 30 years. I've never seen anything remotely close to this. Today, I have two of members of our team that will also share their thoughts. The first member of our team is Amin Muslim. Many of you might know Amin Muslim's father. He was a Ward 7 activist. He also worked in concert with the chief of police to establish relationships in the community. Amin's connected me to his son several years ago, and he has been advancing in one of our hotels, and he has had to make some unique sacrifices through this COVID period. And so at this time, I introduce Amin to share a few remarks.
Good evening, everybody, again. My name is Amin, and COVID has just presented a unique challenge to me and the rest of the folks that work at my hotel this year because, one, everything happened so fast. When, the cases started reporting and businesses started being shut down and everything, it just happened so rapidly that, especially, and it happened at the worst time of the year. We were gearing up for spring break. Everybody was getting ready to come to town. We were about to rock and roll, have a great, spring and summer. And then so quickly, because cases started spiking, you started seeing reservations being canceled, and then you started seeing the other aspect of where, people can't travel. And, like Thomas said, with no hours, with no guests, you can't have staff. So I saw people that I saw every day, and now I'm not, they're gone. And that was different. And, it was even to the point that everything got cut so rapidly that I was staying at the hotel just to be able to assist because, they were saying you can't be out on the road or go anywhere without, documentation. And I was afraid that, okay, if I even came back home for a second, they wouldn't let me come back to work. So it was just a unique situation to where, I'm staying at the hotel. I'm a front office guy, but because of the shortness in staff, I'm front office. I'm now housekeeping. I'm just now participating in doing more things that I would have never gotten the opportunity to do. So it was weird in that sense of where, okay, we don't have as much business, but because we don't have as much staff, it's more pressure because now we're working harder, just to try to maintain a little bit and try to keep the doors open as best we can. And it's you folks in the hospitality, no matter what, the guest expectations still don't go anywhere. So if you're open, they still want top of the line service and they want your best. And so that's just been the thing to try to maintain that throughout the course of the year. And we were lucky that, we had, enough folks in the house to where we didn't have to close. We were able to keep our doors open. But even still in those moments, sometimes the business drops, it was times I may have been working 4 or 5 days a week. And then the next week comes, I have 1 day. And, my boss will give me 1 day, just like, please, I want to give you something. So I'm just hopefully looking forward to 2021 where we can hopefully, get this turn back around and just get back to business as usual.
So I just want to, publicly thank Amin Muslim. All of our leaders in our business have taken a material salary reduction, him being one of all of our leaders that have taken that reduction. Before I go to Stacy Smith, General Manager of the Hyatt Place National Mall, just a personal story of a family member who I lost through this period, who had done close to 40 years in prison, came home in 2012, started working at a hotel here in the city, the Hamilton on 14th Street, had been doing an amazing job 2012 forward. And obviously, the transition from prison after that kind of time is a difficult transition. As a result, unfortunately, mental health challenges led to him passing away in April. And obviously, we had worked hard to get him home. He had been turned down from parole for 20 times. We got him home on the 21st time, and he came home and was doing well, but COVID was just a bit too much for him. And so the impact that this has had on the mental health of our associates have been tremendous. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Stacy Smith because she has, I'm certain, more stories to share.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stacy Smith, and I am the General Manager of the Hyatt Place National Mall. I'd like to thank Deputy Mayor for inviting me. I'd like to thank the Mayor for her leadership, and I'd like to thank the many people in the countless hours of trying to think of ways to get people back to work. I currently sit on the Workforce Investment Council. I sit on the Destination DC board, and I'm board chair, and I sit on the Hotel Association as well. And my hotel is not just a hotel. I am a hotel that's rooted in the community in Washington, D.C. Pre-COVID, I was a staff of 78, and now I'm a staff of 23. During good times, during the summer, I'm a staff of 110. And I am not only just a hotel that employs people, I work with Department of Employment Services, we work with CSOSA, Project Empowerment, and many other community partners, and we are the pathway to get an opportunity youth, returning citizens, connected to careers, not just jobs. So normally I'm a hotel that has 10 to 15 apprentices working, doing on-the-job training, and out of the 55 associates that I don't have, 30 of them were from Ward 7, Ward 8, that have been connected to full-time employment, that came through one of these wonderful programs, and it is devastating. These employees did qualify for employment, but let's talk about the people that I had in my program that were not qualified for employment, because prior to that, I had 5 apprentices at my hotel pre-COVID, and then I was about to offer one young gentleman who's done a great job coming through Project Empowerment, did everything he was supposed to do. I verbally offered him his sales coordinator role, and then the pandemic happened, and as I say, the bottom of the earth fell out, and I had to let go of my team. And of course, he couldn't get connected to employment. He came back in August once the program was able to restart. Unfortunately, the streets got to him, because since he didn't qualify for unemployment because he didn't have 2 quarters of wages, there was not many resources available for him. He came back on a Monday, missed work 2 days, and then eventually was murdered on that Thursday night. My entire team found out. I received many text messages saying, "Miss Stacy, I need help. Please help me. Because of you, my life has changed. Because of the Hyatt Place, my life has changed. Because of the programs that DC has invested in, their lives have changed for the good." And now it's a depth of helplessness, because there's not anything I can do. And the 23 employees that I still have, they're working reduced hours, just like Amin said. I can barely give them 2 days or 3 days, and I want to give them all much more, but I can't. When you receive a text message from your associate saying, "I don't want to die, please help me," that's probably the most gut-wrenching feeling that I have because there's not much I can do. I can reach out to the many people that I work with on the many boards and say, hey, we need to, get in front of council. And I want to thank council, city council, for working tirelessly to help pass funding for employment, for the relief of eviction, because it is tough times. I sat in my hotel this past Monday, which normally the Monday before Thanksgiving every year was a staple of my hotel, where my employees come together. We cook, we box over 150 meals, and then we hit the streets of D.C. to go feed the homeless. They bring their children. This is not just a place of us just making money for our owners. It is about connecting to a community. Many of my associates are from Ward 7 and Ward 8, and they deserve that chance to come back to work. And I'm just grateful for the Bridge Fund. I'm grateful for Thomas Penny. It is because of him. This is my third hotel in D.C. I got to open 2 hotels in D.C., and I'm looking forward to 2021 when we can bring our employees back to full-time status.
Well, thank you, Stacey, and I appreciate you sharing those deeply personal reflections. Thomas as well, thank you for sharing that. A lot of times when we think about conversation about a program that we're having, that we think about sort of the data and the numbers, but there are real people behind these numbers, and I think that's always important for us to remember. Solomon Keene should be with us. We're going to try him one more time. He's doing this by phone. Solomon, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Solomon.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you. Again, I want to thank everyone.
Solomon, we're having a little bit of trouble with your connection, Solomon. So why don't we do this? We're going to open this up to questions while we try to work out Solomon's connection. I guess times are so tough that his connection has let out Thomas. We'll have to work on that together to make sure we get him reconnected. But Solomon, we want to bring into the conversation, so we're going to work on that. But why don't we get to some of the questions? If you're listening on our phone line and you have a question, you could press 0 now. That'll put you into the queue. If you're watching on any one of our streams on Facebook, on Twitter, you could use the hashtag DCHope. That'll let the folks who are screening it see your question. And we have a couple questions that have already come in via social media. Philip in DuPont Circle, who asks, will the mayor's order be extended beyond December 2020? If so, this has implications around business insurance. So just to give you a little sense of the process for the public health emergency, now that we're beyond the early stages of it, the council actually gives the mayor the authority to extend the public health emergency. We expect that the council will do that in December. It has 2 meetings in December, December 1st and December 15th. And we expect that they'll give authorizing legislation to extend the public health emergency, and then the mayor would actually act upon that through a mayor's order to extend it. And that's been the process throughout the pandemic for us. Another question we had online, and I'm going to ask Sabangale to help me with this one, is a question from Chris, who asked about another program within the Bridge Fund. That's the entertainment program, which I know we're going to launch in December. A couple questions. How is that an entertainment business defined? Can a C3 apply? Is there limited to independent businesses? Does it exclude national corporations? The criteria for how much money can be received? So it's a lot of questions. Why don't you talk about sort of what's going to happen over the course of December, because that might give folks a sense of what happens next for the other 3 programs within the Bridge Fund.
Yeah. So thank you, Chris, for your question. So ultimately, what's going to happen is everyone will be getting much more extensive and additional guidelines for each of these programs as they begin to roll out. Excuse me. And as the deputy mayor mentioned, so in terms of the timeline, these things are all going to roll out over the next 4 weeks. We are ensuring that any information about each of these funds will come out in advance so that businesses can apply. To your question, though, as we talk about entertainment, we're thinking about those venue spaces that currently exist here in the city. We're talking about movie theaters, yes, 501c3s that fall within the guidelines most certainly are eligible to apply. And in terms of the limited independent businesses, yes, they will be eligible. There are, again, like I said, there'll be more specific and more detailed guidelines in terms of who's eligible to apply for this, but we are trying to make it as comprehensive as possible. Even our nonprofits. Also, I think you had asked the question about how much money can they receive. There is a max that we had put out when the mayor and the deputy mayor announced this. Was this yesterday? My days are getting all kinds of confused and mixed up, so forgive me. But the award range is anywhere from $4,000 up to $100,000 for these entertainment type of grants, and that's just specific to the entertainment grant that's going out. But I will say this, Chris, for you, just know that we will be sending out much more extensive guidelines for each of these in the coming days so that everyone will have a better sense and have greater confidence in which one that they need to apply for and look out for.
Thank you, Samangle, for that.
Did you want to add? Mm-hmm.
No, thank you. Another question we had come in on social media was from Pam and Sandra. They are business owners. They asked about the Bridge Fund. Is it required to use 80% on payroll? And so we do have a requirement that for the hotel program, that 80% is utilized for pay or benefits, and that all of that is described on our coronavirus.dc.gov/recovery. If you go to the recovery page, we have information about the Bridge Fund, and more specifically, we actually have specifically for this program, we actually do have more information about all the program requirements, the time period, the deadlines, and the allowable uses, and how that will all work. And so what we ask is that you go to coronavirus.dc.gov/recovery and look for the links at the top of the page to the Bridge Fund. So with that, I want to ask a question of Josh and Andre. So you probably have seen businesses come to you who probably were neighborhood businesses who didn't really have to rely on an online presence. Now that we're in the midst of the pandemic, they've had to make that pivot. What's your best advice to them when they need to make that online pivot?
It's definitely been such an interesting experience for everyone and a difficult experience. Many businesses, even including my own bar, we did not have a strong online presence going into the pandemic. And, now that we've seen the effects and we've seen how long it's lasted, it's crucial to have an online presence. And that is not only so that you can operate if you're a restaurant and have pickup and delivery, but also, for retail businesses, for all forms of business, really to be able to connect with their customers. And that's not just websites, that's social media, that's really taking every avenue possible to interact with your customers and provide your services. And it's just become more and more critical, and that's why initiatives like shopinthedistrict.com are so important, and why businesses really appreciate the help that we've gotten from you, the deputy mayor, the mayor's office, and DMPED to really help us work on bridging this digital gap, which is a strong issue for many local business owners.
And if I could just add to that briefly, the pivot is critical, not only just trying to connect with your customer, but the pivot in your internal infrastructure, because it is much easier to have customers actually come into your shop, pick things up off the shelf, compared to having to box and package everything for delivery. And so what we've seen is that just that internal shift and pivot requires a considerable amount of thought so that you can more efficiently package your product and move it out, because it is a different process. It's much more labor intensive, and you've got to find faster ways to get it done.
Well, no, thank you for that. Sabangwe, what was kind of the driving force behind setting up these two initiatives or highlighting these two initiatives?
I think for what I truly enjoyed about, hearing both what Josh and Andre have is that these are two gentlemen who are already working in the space. They are very familiar with the industry, both retail and restaurant. They live here. They live here, they work here, and have businesses here, and obviously had a commitment to helping businesses and preserving our local economy. And so it was really exciting to be able to bring these two on board to help us round out this concept. So I feel like what's special about Shop in the District is it's that old, I don't know if people recall that acronym FUBU, for us, by us. I feel like the district here in D.C., this is truly, created and designed by people who live and work here in D.C. and businesses that are here in D.C. So I feel like it's for D.C. and by D.C. And I think that's what's really exciting about having a collaboration with businesses that are truly here and in the midst of it and experiencing it themselves, while also creating options and an opportunity for residents to patronize businesses, but then also to help businesses themselves see other ways that they can brand and explore and expand their brand.
Absolutely. So important to have that presence. And the hard part and the reason why I think we wanted to really highlight the work of Andre and Josh is because it's so hard when you're in the middle of the pandemic and thinking about your pivots. How do you go out and start that presence, or how do you reach new customers? And so we hope that these two new initiatives really help us kind of get our businesses in front of our customers, like you said, Sabangle, that we actually keep those dollars in the district. So for Amin and Stacy, Amin, you were saying that when you said that the expectations stay high, for some reason a poem flashed into my mind, and it's that it's when the funds are low and the debts are high and you want to smile but you have to sigh. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Does anybody else know that poem? Yeah. Well, it made me think of that poem. So how do you keep at it? How do you keep at it every day to really keep providing for customers and while you're taking care of your teammates?
One is, with everything going on with COVID, there's not a lot of business. So if there's even an opportunity that you could do something extra for somebody or anything like that, you want to do it because, right now, any 1-2 extra rooms that's there in your building, that helps. So that's my mindset is like, okay, it's rough going, but, this person might tell his, and it actually worked for us a couple of times over. We had people who were deciding to stay with us for like long stays. They were coming and doing government work. They say, hey, man, you guys choose, that's fantastic. Let me tell my coworkers, and that's been, honestly, a lot of the reason we were able to get, get more people to come stay in, even though it's only like maybe 3, 4, 5, stays at a time. But that's 5 extra people than we had before. So it's just focusing on looking like, okay, it's tough, but if this one person is connected with just one other person, maybe if they have business in D.C., they can get them to stay here too. At least, that's how I view it.
Yes, that's exactly correct. Being at the front desk and, making that time to make a personal connection and asking about them and finding out more about them, it gives us the chance to say, hey, I have a prime example. This past weekend, I was able to upgrade a family that was just wanted to get out of the house. They wanted to be able to get the kids, just go get some fresh air. They knew a lot of things were closed, but they just wanted to get away. I upgraded them, gave the kids a great experience, and they live probably about an hour in the Drive Market for an hour. And from that, we got 2 reservations from their neighbors. And it is about making those connections. And when COVID happened at the end of March, we were able to connect to many other people that actually grew 1 room, 2 rooms, 5 rooms. But we're all looking for that same business. Out of all the hotels, we all need that business. And so we're all needing the virus to have a vaccination, and we all need that to get our business back and rethink of how 2021 will look in the new way of dealing with life after the pandemic.
Absolutely. John Boardman, I saw you shaking your head when they were talking about doing that little bit of extra to keep people coming back.
I think Aminia's right. Any little extra bump in occupancy at the occupancy levels that we're operating at is important. We're bouncing around 10, 12% on average right now. So any room is important. Any guest is important. And with those guests returning, people return to work, and that's what we're interested in.
Thanks for that, John. And Thomas, I saw you shaking your head during the poem as well. How do you keep the staff motivated and the team motivated in this trying time?
So let me just say the one thing that I'm proudest about is our people. They far exceeded my expectations in terms of the sacrifices they've made. And what we try to do is just be accessible to them and make it a point to go out and visit them as frequently as we can. In addition to dealing with COVID, obviously, many of our associates have been greatly impacted by what's happened around George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. And so they're dealing with all kinds of issues that have caused for them to be experiencing a great deal of stress. And so, again, we try to touch them as much as we can, let them know how much we appreciate them. And again, they far exceeded our expectations through this entire period.
Well, thank you for that.
I'd just like to add to what Thomas said. It's not only a sacrifice being at work. It's all the things that go with getting to work. It's making sure that your children have childcare, that you're traveling on public transportation, enduring risks. People in our industry are frontline workers, and they should be acknowledged as such. This is an industry that constantly exposes people to the public, and so I think all of us need to acknowledge the important role that hospitality workers are playing in representing our city and making sure that people are taken care of.
Absolutely.
Well, and John, on that note, Mayor Bowser actually came up with the name of the Bridge Fund, and she said she wanted to name it the Bridge Fund because we know how trying of a time this is for everyone, but we see a light at the end of the tunnel, and we just really need to get over this really rough period. We know it's going to be hard, but we want to show people that there is a reason to be hopeful. So Greg and Sabangale, any final thoughts before we close out?
Yeah, I thank you, Deputy. I'm sorry, go ahead, Sabangale, if you'd like to go.
No, by all means, go ahead, Greg. Do your
Sure, ladies first, please.
Obviously, my plug will be for everyone. If you are interested in shopping for the holidays or for yourself, go to shopinthedistrict.com. And then for those retailers who are interested and would like to participate in any way, or you need help, again, go to shopinthedistrict.com to the About page. There are resources and ways that we can support and help you. And we'll be sure to continue to keep adding more businesses to the site so that this really becomes a one-stop shop for the district. I'll leave it at that, Deputy Mayor. Go ahead, Greg. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. Well said. I just want to say, Deputy Mayor, one, I didn't know you were a poet, so let me first say that I was surprised, but I shouldn't be surprised. You're a man of many talents. But in all seriousness, I think, one, I just couldn't thank you and thank the mayor enough for the leadership. But I think, just listening to, our partners in the hotel industry specifically, really just kind of, it's just a good example of how this community has come together. And, when people are hurting, not only about creating jobs, but also I've been heartened by the fact that people even wanted to be part of the public health response. We took great pride as an example when we were able to participate in activities, and even when it meant converting part of the convention center to an alternative care center, there couldn't have been a more proud moment amongst our team members and I think amongst the hospitality industry at large to support the mayor in this effort. So we're all thankful. We'll know we'll get through it together. But appreciative of what you all are doing, and this is another great example, and so we're happy to participate. So thanks for having me today.
Well, thank you, partner.
Deputy Mayor, one last comment.
Yes.
And it's only an acknowledgement. I would be remiss if I didn't thank all of the coordinating partners that made Shopping DC possible, which were the bids. You'll see them on the site, our main streets and DSLBG. A variety of partners helped make this happen, the Washington, D.C. Economic Partnership as well. And so I'd be remiss if I did not mention that they were critical in helping us get this launched and are still a part of this process as we continue to reach out to businesses across the district. So I did want to thank the bids, the main streets, the agencies, and the partnership for their work.
Thank you for that, Simango. We had one other question that came in that I thought was important, but also gives me an opportunity. There was a question about within the Bridge Fund program for hotels, is if the hotel does close, the district would like the opportunity to look at how that hotel can be converted to housing. That's obviously a much longer conversation than we have for today. But if you have more questions about the hotel the Bridge Fund hotel program, you can reach out to DMPED. There's a special email address. It's just hotelbridgefund@dc.gov. Again, hotelbridgefund@dc.gov. If you're an operator and you have questions about the grant application, you can reach out to us there. Also we talked a lot about partnerships. The mayor has always said that we're all in this together and that we'll get through this together. And we have to thank our partners on the council who passed the legislation to set a goal of a $100 million grant program, especially Councilmember Kenya McDuffie, who's helped us on that. And then also, we heard a couple of really personal stories on today's panel, so we want to thank the panelists for sharing not only your professional insight, but your personal stories. Want to make it clear that there are resources for you. If you feel alone, if you feel isolated, it's not uncommon to have that feeling right now. There are resources. Our Department of Behavioral Health has a mental health hotline. You can call it at 1-888-793-4357. I'll make sure that we share that on our social media. Again, it's our mental health hotline, 1-888-793-4357. We want everybody to stay safe this holiday season. Have a happy and safe Thanksgiving. All the information that we talked about today is on coronavirus.dc.gov. Thank you for joining us, and be safe.